My sister clinked her glass, smiled sweetly, and then said, "You know, she's always been the backup plan in this family." Laughter. Loud. Comfortable. My mom leaned back in her chair and actually clapped. Clapped. Like it was the funniest thing she'd ever heard. And me? I just sat there, holding my glass, feeling every eye in the room land on me. Because this wasn't a joke. This was a performance. And I was the punchline. But what none of them knew was that I already had something ready to say. And in about 30 seconds, that laughter was going to disappear. It was supposed to be a celebration. Big family dinner, my cousin's engagement, everyone dressed up, smiling, pretending things were perfect. And like always, my sister made sure she was the center of it. She had that way about her, confident, loud, effortlessly charming. The kind of person people listen to, even when they shouldn't. Growing up, she was the favorite. No competition. She's just more outgoing, my mom would say. She shines. And me? I was the quiet one, the responsible one, the one who didn't cause problems, which somehow made me invisible. Until moments like this. Because when my sister wanted attention, she didn't just take it. She took it from someone, usually me. She's always been the safe option. She continued, gesturing toward me, like, if everything else fails, at least we've got her. More laughter. I glanced at my mom, waiting, just once, for her to say something. She didn't. She smiled. That part? That's what hurt. Because it wasn't just my sister anymore. It was everyone. I could have stayed quiet, like I always did. Let it pass. Pretend it didn't matter. That's what they expected. But something about that moment, the way they all laughed, the way no one stopped it, it flipped something in me. Because suddenly, I wasn't embarrassed. I was done. My sister raised her glass again. Anyway, she said, still smiling, cheers to not being the backup plan. The table laughed again. That's when I stood up, slowly, calmly, picked up my glass, and smiled. Actually, I said, I'd like to say something too. The room shifted, because now, they weren't laughing. They were curious. And my sister? She leaned back, amused. Go ahead, she said. She thought this was still her moment. It wasn't, because what I was about to say wasn't a joke, and it wasn't for attention. It was the truth, and they weren't ready for it. I lifted my glass, took a slow breath, and looked around the table. Every face that had just laughed, every person who thought this was entertainment. Yeah, I said lightly, I am the backup plan. A few people smirked. They thought I was playing along. I smiled, then added, but it's funny how that works. The room quieted a little, just enough, because every time something goes wrong, I glanced at my sister. Guess who gets called? No one laughed this time. When the bills don't add up, I looked at my mom. Guess who fixes it? My mom shifted in her chair. When things fall apart, I paused, let it sit. Guess who shows up? Silence. Now real. I took a sip of my drink. Calm. Steady. I've been the backup plan my whole life, I continued. And you're right. I looked at my sister again. That does make me the safe option. She forced a small smile, trying to stay in control. But here's the part you left out, I said. Now everyone was watching. No distractions. No side conversations. Backup plans only matter. I leaned slightly forward. When the original plan fails, that landed hard. My sister's smile dropped. And let's be honest, I added quietly, that seems to happen a lot. A couple of people looked down at their plates. Because now, this wasn't funny anymore. I set my glass down, gently. I'm not the backup because I couldn't be anything else, I said. I'm the backup because I chose to be there. I paused, for people who wouldn't do the same for me. My mom didn't look at me anymore. My sister's expression tightened. And that ends today. That line? That's the one that froze the room. Because now they understood. This wasn't a speech. This was a boundary. No more fixing things you break, I said. No more showing up when I'm only needed. Silence. Complete. I hope everything works out for you, I added. And I meant it. But I'm not your backup plan anymore. I picked up my bag. No one stopped me. No one argued. Because there was nothing to argue with. The truth doesn't need defending. As I walked away, I heard a chair move. Someone trying to say something. Too late. Funny thing is, they laughed when I was quiet. But the moment I spoke, everything stopped. Because respect doesn't come from being loud. It comes from knowing when you're done being silent. So tell me, would you have stayed quiet? Or said exactly what I did?